So once we start to understand that, it's like, whoa, I'm actually not leaving my body. I'm floating in my field. I'm becoming aware of my own consciousness and bringing everything to that space. And it seems that you're going somewhere.
Okay, um, so what are some of the things that you've discovered? Did you make some decisions before you say you came to planet Earth? Have you learned some things that you decided that you were going to do or learn since your experiences began?
So since my experience began, I started to question things like, why am I going through this? Because, throughout the whole time period, there were days that I cried. There were days that I begged for a teacher. There were days that I wanted like to stop all this. I started to question like, okay, what's really happening? Why is this happening to me? I want to stop this. Like, I want to go back to being normal like everybody else. And I couldn't. I just couldn't. It was so much desire and so much interest to go deeper into that. And I started to go deeper and I started to see, okay, I came here to teach people how to activate their light body. That was my main thing, is to help people to really activate their energy fields, to step into that space, to clear out the karmic patterns, reprogram those processes that they're going through of pain or suffering and all these emotions, and how to find a balance in that. Because we are going to have emotions going up and down. But how can you come into a state of neutrality and become an observer? Really, what's really taking place? Because we as a collective, just understanding how to be a positive thinker, that's only the beginning. But then that we get into the multidimensionalism, we're operating in our past and our future instantaneously through these energy bodies. Because the energy body is what brings in the energy from the soul in through this body. And this body is just the processor. So nothing really takes place from here. It's just the mind is the controller and the receiver of information. So wherever the mind goes, that's where the energy will flow. But the heart is what sends it all. So if the heart sends the energy, this directs the energy. And that where the work comes in. But most of our thoughts are not in our mind, they're in our mental body. And the mental body has programs from the time of your mother and father of conception. And soon as that happens, we right away start to picking up programs from our ancestors on this dimension. But then we also have beliefs that are coming from our causal body, which are from other dimensional lives. So how do we find a balance between that? And that's where I kind of created the courses for this, is to find a balance so we can find a neutrality and start clearing things out, finding a proper thought process, because the logical mind in this 3D reality is taught to think a certain way. But when we go into a higher dimension of how energy thinks, the logic here does not align to the energy above, because energy has its own logic and it's a multidimensional logic. So that was the main thing for me. It was like, okay, now that I find this within myself, I balance this out. Now I need to share this. So I started to share this. And still till this day, I go through stuff. It will never end. We're not going to become this angel, you know, that people think they're going to enlightenment. No, it is becoming the best human version of yourself, but with the awareness of the astral plane. Because if you take a look at Egypt, or if we take a look at all these ancient sites, we cannot understand them because they were built from beings that operated in the astral plane. They operated from a higher dimension. So all the structures and everything that they built was being built from the space of the astral mind, not the physical logical mind. It was just a representation on this reality to assist to merge those dimensions. And when we start to look at that, we see like the story of Osiris and Isis and their son Horus, it's the same story as Jesus, Yahshua. And it's all about reincarnation. It's all about resurrection. It's about being non attached. And that takes place in the astral body, because that's the body, the gross body, they call it, the body where you have attachment to things. to people, to events, to different places. So you kind of say, okay, what is attachment? If I detach from everything, then I might as well leave. But it's not just leaving everything, it's about having it and not being afraid of losing it or being afraid of not having it. Because the fear is what really creates the attachment. So the energy bodies can have things, but without attachment, can experience stuff without fear because they're timeless. They come and go instantaneously. Does that make sense? Or that's like,
Yeah, we're getting there. So, what do you say to people? They go, okay, well, Igor, this is all very well and good. It's being more spiritual, but I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got
yeah.
young kids. I've just got no time for myself. I'm not getting enough sleep. What do you say to people that feel like they're just sort of on a hamster wheel and doesn't seem to be any way to get off it?
You know, we have 24 hours in a day. We're taught that we need to have 8 hours of sleep. If you actually meditate for an hour in the morning and you wake up before your kids do, that's what I did. I have 3 kids. I wake up before they did. I knew they wake up at 6. I would wake up at 5. I knew they wake up at 7. Then I would wake up at 6. And so I made sure that I meditated 3 hours to 4 hours a day, even when I had kids. Why? Because I found a time that if the more I meditate, the less I would need to sleep. The only reason we need to sleep is because we need to energize our body. But if you meditate, that is energizing your body. You're consciously energizing your body. So therefore, you will not need as much time. Your mind will become sharper. Your body will become more energized. And everything that you believe that you need as this society or this reality has created, you won't, because things will start literally coming to you. The problem is that we look at things that the social media is full of information, and we look at, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, and we're constantly spending our energy every time we're looking at different shows, different uh, platforms, everything. We're actually feeding our consciousness. It's important, like your platform, this is the platforms that people should be watching because they're feeding their consciousness to grow their souls, right? That is energizing. That is expansive. But the other things that people are watching, the things that are going on in the world, they are just taking away the energy and they become tired, depleted, because the emotional body constantly is being used for different emotions that are not part of source. If your emotions are always thinking of God, of source, of divine things, of love, of joy, of peace, you'll always be charged because that is the energy that you're receiving and that's the energy you're giving out. But if you're looking at fear, disappointment, and all these negative emotions, then of course you're going to be depleted. You're not going to have enough time. You're not going to have enough energy. But if you want to be there for your family and you're not fully there for yourself, then you are not fully for your family. You have to take care of yourself first so you can be present, fully present with your family.
Okay, I've heard you mention the halls of Amenti. In fact, you're the only other guest I've heard mention the halls of Amenti and the Akashic records. Can you tell us what you've learned about those?
Yeah, the holes of Amenti. So the holes of Amenti are actually are the holes within your astral space. They are a representation of pyramids, right? We see pyramids throughout the world. Pyramids are energetic structures within the astral body. They hold the highest vibration, and pyramids are utilized in different civilizations throughout the universe by different beings in different colors and different shapes in order to teleport or move consciousnesses. So you can build energetic structures within your energy fields when you become aware of them. These energy structures also can connect you to the holes of Amentis. The holes of Amentis, this is basically a library of wisdom of the universal astral body. It is the wisdom that is given to us. It is not a wisdom that can be attained by the physical mind. It is the wisdom that is utilized according to the time and space when it's needed. So it is like golden to me at least. They look like golden geometrical shapes and symbols, or even letters sometimes, that are stored in our energy field. And whenever you need them, they will come up and they will express themselves. That wisdom will be shared through you. So the halls of Amenti, these are trainings that take place once people start to operate in their astral plane, meaning that you will become aware of your energy bodies instantaneously and have clarity of what you're feeling, where you're walking through, and what you're really doing. Because it's important to be aware into that space of into that space of consciousness. So the holes will have records of wisdom that is already there for us. It is nothing that we need to learn. It is something that we need to remember. But how do we remember it if we're not fully remembering our full potential? So once we start to expand our awareness into our energy bodies, this information will start coming up to people. And they will start receiving it through dream states, through astral traveling, and different forms of meditation as well. That is the holes of amenities.
And are they the same thing as the Akashic records, or is that something
So
different?
yeah, because see, we give so many different labels to kind of the same things. Is just from the energetic perspective, the Akash represents the ether. Ether, it is not measurable. It is not electric. It's not magnetic. It's beyond that because electric and magnetic, we're still measuring. Is still part of this 3D dimension. The etheric body, it is without a measure. It is space itself. Within that space, we have the records, the akashic records, or the halls of Amentis, which is also the part of the akashic space. So it's pretty much the same, just different terms, depending of who shared it or how they learned it.
So you mentioned before that you were taken onto a ship. So can you go back and just tell us that story? How did that